In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about the resolving power of telescope. In the previous lecture, we discussed the concept of resolving power of any optical instrument. So the resolving power of any optical instrument is defined as the ability of that particular optical instrument to resolve the images of two close objects or two closely spaced wavelengths. So to resolve the two objects, to just resolve the two objects or two closely spaced wavelengths, the Rayleigh criteria of resolution is used. So in the process of finding the resolving power for the case of telescope and in the other articles, that is to find the resolving power of microscope, prism, diffraction grating, we will always use the concept of Rayleigh's criteria of resolution, and we will derive the resolving power of these optical instruments using that criteria. Now, what is telescope? Telescope is used to see the distant objects, the objects which are very far away from us. The telescope is used to view those distant objects, and over here I have drawn the objective lens of the telescope. So this is the objective lens of the telescope and it will be in circular shape. So the lens is always in circular shape that you might have seen in the laboratories as well. And over here you can see that I have drawn the light rays which are shown by red color, and I have drawn the light rays which are shown by these black dotted lines. So these red lines, these are the light rays which are reaching the objective lens of the telescope from the object O1. So I have mentioned over here O1, O1 and O1. So these are the light rays which are coming from one object O1, which is very far away from this objective lens, and therefore the light rays which are reaching the objective lens, they are exactly parallel to each other. And similar is the case for the light rays reaching the objective lens from the object O2. Now O1 and O2, they are at a certain distance from each other. O1 and O2, they have a certain separation between each other, and the O2 object is also placed far away from this objective lens of the telescope. Therefore the light rays which are reaching the objective lens, they are a bit tilted, but these are parallel to each other. These black dotted lines, they are parallel to each other. This is because the object O2 as well as the object O1, they are at a very far away distance from the objective lens of the telescope. Therefore we have drawn parallel lines. Now, to find the resolving power of a telescope, first of all, let's say these O1 and O2 objects. These two objects, they are just resolved by this telescope. So we are assuming that these two objects, they are just resolved by the telescope. By just resolved, we mean the Rayleigh criteria is satisfied. As you know that the Rayleigh criteria states that two objects, they are just resolved when the principal maximum of one falls on the first minima of the another object. And you can clearly see over here that at P1 point, at this P1 point, we have the central maximum. We have the central maximum of object O1, because at this point, this is the center of the screen, and the light rays from O1, when they will reach this point P1, they will form a central maximum. And you have to keep in mind one more thing, that these light rays which are falling parallel on the objective lens, this objective lens is transparent to the light, and this objective lens is circular in shape. Therefore this lens, objective lens of the telescope, it will act as a circular aperture, and Fraunhofer diffraction will occur over here as well. Therefore we will have fringes. We will have the principal maximum or central maximum, then we will have minimum, and so on. We will have maxima and minima on the focal plane of the lens. So these intensities, these fringes which are formed, these are formed on the focal plane of this objective lens. So at P1 point, we will have the central maximum of O1, and after that we will get a minima of the object O1. So at P1 point, you can see we have maximum intensity, and this is called as the central maximum, which is formed by the O1 object. And after on either side of P1, you can see the intensity decreases and then it goes to 0. And you can also see that at this P2 point where we get minima, at P2 point we have minimum for the case of O1 object, but at this same point P2 we have maximum in the diffraction pattern which is formed by the O2 object. So over here we are assuming that O1 and O2 objects, they are placed so that these two objects are just resolved by the objective lens of the telescope. And this can be seen from here that the principal maximum or central maximum in this case is falling on the first minimum of the diffraction pattern formed by the another object. So this is what the Rayleigh criteria is, and we are assuming that these O1 and O2, they are placed such that they are just resolved. Now let's say these O1 and O2, they subtend an angle of theta. They subtend an angle of theta at the objective lens of the telescope. So this theta, it can be decreased as well as it can be increased. So for another two objects, so here I have O1 and O2, and if I am viewing another objects, let's say O3 and O4, for that case the theta angle will be different. But over here we are assuming that for these O1 and O2 objects, the diffraction pattern, they are just resolved, and therefore we will say that this theta is the minimum angle. So theta, it is the minimum angle, smallest angle which is subtended at the objective lens of the telescope, so such that the diffraction patterns which are formed, they are just resolved. So in the diffraction patterns, the minima of one object falls on the maxima of the another. So if this theta is decreased further, if you decrease this angle theta, then these diffraction patterns, they will also come close to each other, and hence the objects, they will not be resolved. So this theta over here, this is the minimum angle which is subtended at the objective lens of the telescope, such that these two objects, they are just resolved by the telescope. So the resolving power of telescope is defined as a reciprocal of the smallest angle. So here I have denoted the minimum angle by theta. So this is the minimum angle subtended by objective lens, so that O1 and O2, they are just resolved by this telescope. Now if I take another telescope, and for that this minimum angle is less. Let's say for this first telescope, the minimum angle is, let's say it is 4 degrees. For this first telescope, the minimum angle that should be subtended so that the diffraction patterns, so that these two objects, they are just resolved, is, let's say, is 4 degrees. And if I take another telescope of different objective lens, then let's say for that particular telescope, the minimum angle that must be subtended is 2 degrees. So for this first telescope, the minimum angle is 4 degrees, and if I decrease the angle below 4 degrees, then these diffraction pattern, they will start overlapping with each other, and these objects will not be resolved. So let's say for this telescope, the minimum angle is 4 degrees, and for another telescope which I am taking, for that the minimum angle is 2 degrees. So obviously the resolving power of the second telescope is larger as compared to the resolving power of this first telescope, because for this the minimum angle that must be subtended is 4 degrees, and for the another telescope, the minimum angle that must be subtended so that the objects are just resolved is 2 degrees. So obviously the second telescope is better for us. So you can say that the resolving power is inversely proportional to the minimum angle. So lesser the minimum angle, more will be the resolving power, and better will be the telescope. So resolving power of the telescope is defined as the reciprocal of the smallest angle. It is the reciprocal of the smallest angle subtended at the objective lens. So which is subtended at the objective lens of the telescope by the two distinct point objects, which can be just seen as separate ones through telescope. So the resolving power of telescope is defined as reciprocal of the smallest angle or reciprocal of the minimum angle subtended at the objective by the two distinct point objects. Over here the two distinct point objects are O1 and O2, which can be just seen as separate ones. So another term for this particular phrase is, so here I have written that they can be just seen as separate ones, or you can say that they are just resolved through the telescope. So this is how we define the resolving power of a telescope. So resolving power, what is the formula of resolving power? We have seen that it is the reciprocal of the smallest angle. So it will be 1 divided by theta. The reciprocal for the case of telescope is equal to 1 divided by the minimum angle that must be subtended at this objective lens of the telescope, so that this telescope, it resolves these two objects. So if you will further decrease this angle, the diffraction patterns, they will overlap with each other. They will start overlapping with each other, and we will not be able to distinguish between the two objects. So let's say D is the diameter of the objective lens of the telescope. As I have said that the objective lens of the telescope is circular in shape and it will act as a circular aperture. Therefore, diffraction pattern is formed on the focal plane of the lens. So Fraunhofer diffraction will occur over here. This lens will act as the circular aperture, and on the focal plane of this objective lens we will get the diffraction pattern. So let's say the diameter of this objective lens is given by small d. So the diameter is given by small d, and we consider the incident rays of light from two neighboring points, as I have already said over here that we have two neighboring points from which the incident rays, they fall on the objective lens. So they can be two stars which are lying very close to each other. So as I have said, the telescope is used to view the distant objects, and these distant objects, they can be two stars in the sky. So we can view the two stars which are lying very close to each other, and this theta angle is the minimum angle subtended by those 2 point objects at the objective lens. Now the objective lens, it acts as a circular aperture and produces Fraunhofer diffraction patterns on the focal plane of the objective lens. So this I have already said. Now the resolving power is given by 1 by theta. So we have to find the expression of theta, then we will substitute the expression of theta over here, then we will get the final expression of resolving power of the telescope. Now the diameter of this objective lens is small d. This objective lens, it acts as a circular aperture. So we have a circular slit. So over here we have a slit whose width is equal to small d. As we have assumed, the diameter of the objective lens is equal to small d. Therefore, we will say that the width of the slit is equal to small d. So this width is equal to small d. Now we have said that this angle is the minimum angle that is subtended, so that the two objects, they are just resolved, or we can say that the principal maximums or the central maximum of one object, it falls on the first minima of the another object. So over here, if this angle is theta, then what will be this angle? This angle will also be equal to theta. So this is the width of the slit. This is the width of the slit, and this is the angle of diffraction of this P2 point. So this point has P2 point, it has angle of diffraction is equal to theta, because this is the center of the slit. So this circular, this objective lens, it will act as a circular aperture, and this theta angle will be nothing but the angle of diffraction of this P2 point, and the width of the slit is equal to d. Now what will be the condition of minima at P2 point? So at P2 point, what we are getting? At P2 point we have a minimum. We have first minimum caused due to O1 object. So at P2 point we have first minimum which is due to the O1 object, and at this same point P2 we have central maximum which is produced by O2 object. So therefore this is the Rayleigh criteria is achieved. So in this condition Rayleigh criterion is achieved, and at P2 point we have first minimum which is caused by the diffraction from O1 object. Now what is the condition of minima in the case of diffraction? So the width of the slit is equal to d, angle of diffraction of this point is theta. So what is the condition that at P2 point we get a minima? So what is the condition we get a minima at P2 point? It is equal to d sine theta. So this condition we have already seen that for the case of minima, what do we have? D sine theta must be equal to n lambda. Only then at this point P2 we will get a minima due to diffraction. But here we are talking about first minima. So n will be equal to 1. The condition of minima in the case of diffraction is d sine theta is equal to n lambda, and we are talking about first minima over here. So n will be equal to 1. So d sine theta will be nothing but equal to lambda. At P2 point we get central maximum due to O2 object. So that is obvious because the O2 object is subtending an angle of theta. So obviously at this point P2 we will get the central maximum because of O2 point. But we want to find the condition that in which situation at P2 point we will get the first minimum caused due to O1 object. So therefore we are just finding the condition of minimum over here. So at P2 point what is the condition of minima? That d sine theta is equal to lambda. And over here the slit that we are using is a circular aperture, and in the case of circular aperture the scientist Airy scientist, he found that in the case of circular aperture the condition is not d sine theta is equal to lambda, but it is actually d sine theta is equal to 1.22 lambda. So this was the condition which was modified by this scientist in the case of circular aperture. So if you have just a simple slit, then this condition is exactly the same. But if we have a circular aperture, in that case the condition is modified because of the various experimental results which were obtained by Airy, and he found that the condition of minima should be equal to d sine theta is equal to 1.22 lambda instead of d sine theta is equal to lambda. So this is the condition that we will use for P2 point. So at P2 point we must have first minimum which is caused due to O1 object. So this is the condition of minimum, and this angle theta, this theta angle which is subtended by these two objects at the objective lens is very, very small. So this theta angle, minimum angle which must be subtended, is very, very small for all the telescopes. Therefore sine theta, this sine theta, it can be substituted approximately equal to theta. So from here we will get d into theta. So sine theta, it can be approximated to theta. So d into theta will be equal to 1.22 lambda, and from here we will get theta is equal to 1.22 lambda divided by d, and d is the diameter of the objective lens of the telescope. And what do we want to find? We want to find the resolving power of the telescope. So resolving power of the telescope will be nothing but reciprocal of this fraction. So it will be equal to d divided by 1.22 lambda. So this is the final expression of resolving power of any telescope, with d as the diameter of the objective lens and lambda is the wavelength of the light which is coming from O1 and O2 object. And over here the wavelength which is reaching the objective lens from O1 as well as from O2 object is exactly the same. We are assuming that same wavelength they are reaching from O1 and O2 objects onto the objective lens. So this is the final expression of the resolving power of telescope, and you can also say that a telescope with large diameter of objective lens has a higher resolving power. So you can clearly see that resolving power of a telescope is directly proportional to the diameter of the objective lens. So more is the diameter of the objective lens of a telescope, more will be its resolving power.